My friend, behind the scenes at the Jefferson Health Training Complex, something is happening that no Eagles fan expected to see at this stage of the offseason. A quarterback who spent 4 years building his reputation within this organization, who earned Howie Roseman's trust to the point where the franchise moved on from a more experienced backup, is now watching his position threatened by a 38-year-old veteran entering his 16th NFL season. And after mandatory minicamp, the specialized media has already picked a side. This young quarterback was labeled one of the biggest losers of Philadelphia's offseason so far. Before I break down everything that is happening with this situation and what it means for the Eagles in 2026, drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel, because this quarterback storyline is going to unfold throughout the entire training camp and you are going to want to follow every chapter. Let's get into it. This quarterback was a 6th-round pick, selected 188th overall in the 23 NFL draft out of Stanford. His story inside the Eagles organization is one of the most interesting of recent years. In his rookie season in 2023, he did not throw a single pass in the regular season. In 2024, he got 1 start, finishing the year with 323 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. At the start of the 2025 season, he shined in the first preseason game against the Cincinnati Bengals, completing 20 of 25 passes for 252 yards and 2 touchdowns. Multiple analysts ranked him as one of the 4 best backup quarterbacks in the league. Everything seemed to be falling perfectly into place for this young 25-year-old signal caller. That quarterback is Tanner McKee. And then Howie Roseman made a move nobody saw coming in March of 2026. The Eagles acquired Andy Dalton from the Carolina Panthers in exchange for a 7th-round pick in the 2027 NFL Draft. Dalton arrives in Philadelphia for his 16th NFL season, carrying 169 career regular season starts, 3 Pro Bowl selections from his dominant years with the Cincinnati Bengals, and all the experience of someone who has navigated locker rooms in Cincinnati, Dallas, Chicago, New Orleans, and Carolina. What message did that move send to Tanner McKee? The message was clear and brutally honest. You are not yet guaranteed to be the number 2 quarterback on this franchise. Nick Sirianni was asked about the quarterback situation on the first day of mandatory minicamp on June 10th. The head coach's response left no doubt about what is happening. Sirianni confirmed that both quarterbacks are rotating with the second-team unit, and that McKee is going to have to earn his spot. That declaration was enough for Kerr of Sports Illustrated to classify McKee as one of the biggest losers of Philadelphia's minicamp. Kerr's analysis was direct. Sirianni did everything but confirm that McKee is not the unquestioned number 2, which means there will be a significant battle this summer for that job. The analysis even includes the possibility of McKee being traded before the start of the regular season. But why is this situation specifically so concerning for McKee? To understand that, you need to look at the full context of the relationship between this player and the franchise. In 2025, Howie Roseman made a decision that turned heads across the entire league. He moved on from Kenny Pickett, who was the established backup, in a trade with the Cleveland Browns. That move was interpreted by everyone in the NFL as an unambiguous signal that Roseman believed in Tanner McKee as the future backup behind Jalen Hurts. The Eagles' general manager went beyond his typical script, which always prioritized more experienced backups, to bet on a young quarterback who had shown only flashes of potential. That was an enormous vote of confidence for McKee. And then in Week 18 of the 2025 season, McKee got his biggest opportunity. With starters resting, he entered as the starter against the Washington Commanders. The numbers were modest: 274 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. The QBR registered by ESPN for that game was 26.0, a number that impresses nobody. That performance left a mixed impression inside the organization, and it opened the door for Roseman to go looking for an alternative on the market as soon as the offseason began. The question every Eagles fan needs to ask themselves is this: what exactly does Andy Dalton represent for this franchise? And why did Howie Roseman choose to go find a 38-year-old quarterback when he already had a young player with potential on the roster? The answer has several layers. Dalton arrives in Philadelphia carrying the weight of 179 regular season games, plus 4 playoff games of experience. He led the Cincinnati Bengals to 4 consecutive 10-win seasons from 2012 to 2015, earning 4 straight playoff appearances and 2 AFC North Division titles in his 9 seasons as a starter. Since leaving Cincinnati after the 2019 season, he has moved through the Cowboys, Bears, Saints, and Panthers, always adapting to new systems, new offensive philosophies, new locker rooms. That capacity to adapt and lead quietly is something a high-quality backup absolutely must have. And there is a historical fact that people forget too quickly, my friend. Jalen Hurts missed time in 3 of his 4 seasons as the Eagles' starting quarterback. The reliability of the backup is not a cosmetic concern for Philadelphia. It is a strategic issue of the highest importance. In 2021, 2023, and 2024, the Eagles needed their backup quarterbacks in critical moments. The franchise understands this better than anyone. And when Roseman looked at the landscape and saw that McKee had delivered a below-expectation performance in the biggest moment of his career to that point, the decision to bring in Dalton as additional insurance made complete executive sense. What makes this dynamic even more interesting is the financial dimension of Dalton's arrival. The Eagles gave up only a 7th-round pick in 2027 to acquire a 3-time Pro Bowl quarterback with nearly 2 decades of professional experience. In terms of cost-to-value ratio, that is an extraordinary piece of business from Roseman's perspective. A 7th-round pick has roughly a 15 to 20% chance of making a final 53-man roster in the NFL. Dalton, on the other hand, has started playoff games, navigated primetime pressure, and managed NFL offenses under some of the best coordinators in the history of the league. For Philadelphia, it was an almost risk-free move that immediately elevated the quality of the quarterback room behind Hurts. But the dynamic that has been created now is genuinely fascinating to watch, because McKee has not lost the position yet. He is competing for the position. And there is an enormous difference between a quarterback who has a guaranteed spot and one who must earn that spot every single day in practice. This pressure could be the exact catalyst McKee needed to make the quality leap the organization has been waiting for. Or it could confirm the doubts that surfaced after that Week 18 performance against Washington. Training camp is going to answer that question in full. The trade possibility also cannot be dismissed. McKee still carries real market value as a young quarterback standing 6 feet 6 inches tall, with a strong preseason track record, and with deep familiarity with the Eagles' offensive system. If a franchise with a quarterback need comes forward with a reasonable offer, Roseman is going to take that call. He always does. Loyalty in the NFL is a beautiful sentiment, but it rarely dominates the decision-making of an elite general manager operating at the highest level of professional football. The most realistic scenario is that McKee enters training camp hungry to prove that the competition with Dalton was a media miscalculation and not a franchise-level verdict. He has everything he needs to flip this situation: physical talent, system knowledge, and the motivation of someone who was publicly placed in the loser column after minicamp. But Dalton is not going to make it easy. A quarterback with nearly 2 decades of NFL experience does not show up to a competition to lose. He shows up to win, to contribute, and to remind everyone in that building exactly why he has started 179 regular season games in this league. With Jalen Hurts having needed his backup in 3 of his 4 seasons as a starter, and with the Eagles' competitive window at a critical stage, do you think Tanner McKee is going to win this training camp battle and lock down the number 2 job? Or will Andy Dalton's 169 career starts and 3 Pro Bowl appearances be too much experience for a 4th-year quarterback to overcome in 2026? Drop your opinion in the comments. Do not forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. I will be back later to update you with the latest Eagles news.